Hardwood trees form great and beautiful forests. For many centuries, the rich, lasting beauty of hardwood has enriched man's everyday living. Today, modern methods and machinery are transforming these giants into even more wonderful hardwood products. In the log yard, the hardwood timber from America and the far corners of the world is inspected for quality. Some logs are earmarked for lumber, others are selected for veneer. Let's see exactly how rough logs are transformed in modern, efficient hardwood plants into lumber, veneer, and plywood. The red line in the model layout shows the route we'll follow through the band, sawmill, and lumber operation. At the sawmill, logs are rolled onto the carriage and clamped in place with steel dogs. The big carriage moves past the E.C. Atkins high-speed bandsaw. Swiftly and accurately, the ribbon of steel saws the logs into boards. A conveyor brings the boards to a tower edger. The bark is removed and the board cut to the desired width. Now the square-edged boards move to a tower trimmer. This machine trims the ends of the boards, cutting them to any desired length. After inspectors sort and measure the clean-cut boards on the grading table, a Hyster straddle truck picks them up. This agile machine speedily carries the stacks of lumber to the yard for curing. Stacking sticks separate the board so that air reaches every surface. After several weeks or even several months of drying, the lumber is placed in the dry kiln. This modern standard dry kiln is actually a large oven with accurate humidity and temperature control. After thorough uniform seasoning, the lumber will be ready for use in solid furniture and other solid hardwood products. Plywood actually is a wood sandwich. It often has a solid lumber core as a middle layer. Other layers, or plies of veneer, are laid crosswise on the core. Then the outer plies of veneer are laid at right angles to the inner ply. This alternating of the layers of veneers and core gives plywood panels great strength and dimensional stability. To make the core, lumber from the dry kiln first passes through a planer for finishing. A cutoff saw trims the ends, and a rip saw evens off the edges. The core then moves to the high-frequency core machine, which glues the boards firmly edge to edge. It is then given a final sanding and goes to the assembly table. But first, notice along the green line the facilities for making inner ply veneer. A hot water bath conditions the log for cutting. The log is then turned against a stationary knife by the rotary lathe. The all-electric high-speed coal lathe peels off a continuous sheet of smoothly cut veneer. The sheet of veneer is then cut into pieces convenient for handling. This is done at the machine called the wet clipper. The veneer next goes into the coal roller dryer, where temperature and humidity-controlled warm air quickly removes all excess moisture. The sheets are then clipped to size. Smaller pieces are jointed in a machine known as a splicer. The operator feeds the sheets through a deal splicer, which permanently glues the edges together. After the sheets are graded, they go to the assembly table, where they will make up the inner ply or crossband of our plywood panel. To make the top layer or face of the plywood sandwich, veneer is sliced. The machines used for sliced veneer are shown along the blue line in the model layout. Sliced faces provide a great many sheets of veneer with practically identical grain patterns. These identical patterns can be matched in beautiful effects. Sliced veneer usually is made from a half or a quarter of a log. This trimmed log section is called a flitch. The flitch is also conditioned in a hot water bath. The capital slicer moves the flitch diagonally and downward against the blade, slicing off a perfectly cut sheet of veneer with each stroke. The veneer sheets then move to the capital clipper. Here the edges are trimmed parallel and defects are cut out. The wet veneer then travels through a dryer, which removes excess moisture. This is a modern 66-foot single conveyor Procter & Schwartz dryer. Another clipper trims the ends and edges to the right size. Finally, the sheets go through a jointer. This gives perfect edges so they can be spliced to make larger sheets. These larger sheets are graded and moved onto the assembly table. Now the assembly workers put the core, crossbands, and faces together to make the wood sandwich, the famous plywood panel that finds so many modern uses. The plywood assembly is shown along the yellow line. The center of our plywood panel is the solid lumber core stock we saw produced in the beginning. The inner plies, the next layer in the sandwich, are put through a glue spreader. An even coating of tough, modern glue is applied to both sides. The inner plies are placed on either side of the lumber core, with their grain running at right angles to the grain of the core. Now the face and back sheets are added. Here again, the grain runs at right angles to the crossband sheets or inner plies. The assembled panel moves into the modern Williams & White hot plate press. The tremendous pressure and the heat of the metal plate set the glue quickly. The 5 plies are welded into an almost indestructible panel. Now the beauty of the face veneers has been combined with tough inner plies to make a modern panel which will be firm, straight, and durable. The panel is carefully trimmed. As the finishing touch, it is put through a Yates American sander for a smooth luster. And so, from the rough log, come the basic materials used for fine furniture, television sets, and thousands of other handsome and serviceable hardwood products. Hardwood lumber with its structural strength and beauty. Hardwood veneers with their lustrous beauty and exquisite finishes. Durable plywood panels with their blending of strength and beauty. All of these, America's woodworking industry brings you through hardwood, the hallmark of gracious living.